Sorry.
Okay, we got it, everybody. Thank you so much. Okay, so hi, everybody, and welcome to tonight's call. My name is Shelley Kitching, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm actually from the UK and I now live in Spain. I've been here for 13 years, and I have been a wellness coach for the last 25 and a half years. In fact, I specialized in anything from mums and babies nutrition right up to Olympic standard. Having said that, it wasn't that long ago, just over 10 years ago, that things in my life changed even though I was on point with my nutrition, because that's actually nutrition and supplementation. That's what I specialized in. But it didn't take me long to discover that it was actually menopause symptoms that I started to struggle with. And it started to take its toll on my mind, my emotions. I started to have zero energy, constant anxiety, poor sleep. I lost, apart from all the tropical moments. But sadly, I started to lose a lot of confidence because I couldn't even recall simple words. And I just thought I was fading away. And that's 10 years ago. And that was when I was 50. But a friend of mine basically introduced me to the patches. Well, I say introduced me. She showcased her hands and eczema that she had. And I was very curious about it, more because I thought I could help my clients. I hadn't realized what the little patch could actually do for everybody. And within days of me using the patches, my brain fog started to lift. I began sleeping again. So, because I was thinking clearly again, I just felt like a better version of me. And I just love it. So I have changed direction, and this is what I do. And I've been doing this since the end of January, and I absolutely love it. And I feel very privileged. So thank you very much that I can come and I can train and I can share this. So let's move on. And I really would like to then showcase why this company is so amazing and the gentleman that actually created everything for us. Okay, so I love this. Have you been patched yet? Elevate, activate, and regenerate. Oh my goodness, it does so much more than that, but it's not a bad way to start. So David Schmidt, he is our CEO and he is an inventor, as his family are. That's his natural background. And he has invented a lot of our patches, but it's the X39 that we're going to talk about tonight. And although it's not our first patch, it's definitely become what I would call the flagship. He has now over 200 patents to his name, and he specializes in age reversing. And this is why the X39 is so important because of what it can do. But back in 2008, David focused his attention on stem cell research. And I think a lot of us are hearing more about stem cells and what they can do. But what we hadn't realized is what this little patch can do for our own stem cells. So if you look at the patent, which took 10 years, and this is the patent for this particular product, and it cost, I think it's like $4.5 million to bring to market. So testing is very important before we bring anything to market. And if we can prove it does what it says on the tin, basically, we can get a patent. And these are all in his names. And to have over 200 of them is exceptionally unusual for anybody, let alone a scientist and an inventor. But we can make claims, and this particular one works very well at elevating our copper peptide, including activation of our own stem cells, which improves energy, elevation of antioxidants, reduces inflammation, and management of pain. A lot more, and let's share a little bit more about what we can see that this patch does. So, why are we so excited about the X39 in particular? Probably because it does actually work in conjunction with our own body's stem cells. And I will share a little bit more about why these are important because the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. So, this is probably why I noticed that I was struggling at the age of 50 with my menopause. Although I didn't have anything particularly wrong with me physically, it was the internal problems. And if you look at age 30, if only half of our stem cells are active, and then by the time of 60, which I'm going to be 62 this year, you lose almost your stem cell activity. So you're thinking, wow, I'm aging really, really fast. And it's going to be harder for me to be able to heal should anything happen to me unless I start wearing this patch. And it really got my attention. So how does this baby work? Well, it is a proprietary form of what we call phototherapy. So for those of you not in the know, and I didn't know this, phototherapy works in a similar way to the way when we go outside and the sunlight hits our body, it works in synergy with our body, activating our own vitamin D. So it works on a very similar process because it uses our own body's light to activate it. So we don't actually need to be in the sunlight to activate this patch. It can go straight on the skin and it acts a little bit like a mirror and reflects. Now, it's non-transdermal. There are no drugs, chemicals, or stimulants in it. So we find a lot of our clients that are on medication can use this very, very safely. And it is patented. So it's a little nanocrystal technology that inside, if you can see on the bottom right there, that is our magic. And each one of our patches has a separate nanocrystal technology. This one works with the copper peptide, as I said, and the copper peptide in turn wakes up our stem cells, and it is also non-invasive. LifeWave products, by the way, are also, it's very important to note, we don't diagnose, they're not intended to treat, cure, or prevent disease or medical conditions. So although we will share testimonials with you, it is not because it is medicinal, it is because people are privately using these and sharing the benefits. And these are the benefits that popped up in the clinical trials: increased strength. And that can be as simple as just taking the top off a jar. Remember when you used to be able to just twist it and it came off really quickly? And now you just need that little bit of a traction. It will change for you. You'll notice you'll be able to take tops off very quickly, as well as doing sport and push-ups. It reduces inflammation. So we hear this a lot, how pain is reduced from a lot of people. This happened with my husband. He had lots of joint problems, and yet the inflammation almost overnight, and certainly with 2 days, he was no longer in pain. Increased stamina, energy and vitality, mental clarity. This 100% for me. My recall came back after about 3 or 4 days, and I noticed that I had this increase of just joy. I genuinely felt joyful after about 5 days. But we have restored muscle and skeletal conditions, improvement of sleep. Again, I started to sleep through the night, and improved skin appearance because it boosts our own collagen. And I will show you the time frame of that. The patch is also designed to achieve optimum health, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So results. This is quite amazing because when you do something like a topography map of a brain, you can't lie with this. You really can't play around with it. So in the first session, you'll see this lady, 77-year-old lady came in, and the first session was way before a X39 patch was placed on her body. You'll see the red there. So even if you don't understand the topography map itself, I think the majority of us would understand that red means inflammation, and there was a lack of brain coherence. That could be me. Seriously, I could not remember words. I had no recall, and it took me days before I could remember certain things. Now, an X39 was placed actually on the back of her neck, and when she came in for session 2, which was only 3 weeks later, again you'll see there's no red there. So the inflammation has already gone after 3 weeks, and she had improved brain coherence. Probably means that her recall was much better. And then only 6 weeks on, so that's again now from session 1 to session 3, you'll see a complete turnaround and again better brain coherence. But it can be noted, of course, that when she came in, her brain was very hyperactive. Her brain calmed down dramatically by the second visit, and after wearing the X39 patch only for 3 weeks, but by her 6th week, the brain remained calm. Isn't that just amazing, just from wearing one tiny little patch? So these are based on case studies. And if you want to take a screen grab, or the person that introduced you to the call, they can send you the information, which is called thisisit.info.com. There's lots and lots of information on there, all about the patches, what they do, how they came about, how this photolight therapy works with your body. There are videos from the doctors, there are testimonials on there. But these 4 things, once the case studies were done, were noted, and they're in our patent. So we can share these with you. So once you actually put your patch on, in the first few days, 4,000 of your genes begin to reset, which is quite something because we've got 22,000 of them. Within 6 weeks, your brain becomes more balanced. Well, we've already seen that from the previous slide. But here's what's amazing as well, these next two. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. Now, collagen, a lot of us will understand, is maybe for the outside. You're looking at things like wrinkles, decreasing those, hair, nails, etc. But did you know collagen's really important for pretty much every organ in your body and your gut health? And that starts to improve and increase. That's your own collagen, by the way. So you don't have to buy supplementation. This is your own body producing better collagen after only 3 months of wearing. And then within 6 months, we can actually prove that your heart reverses in age by up to 8 years. And as David Schmidt says, it's not anti-aging, this is age reversing. So how do we wear it? It's very, very simple to wear. It works on a circadian rhythm, and that means daylight and nighttime. So you put your patch on in the morning and you wear it for 12 hours, and then you just take it off and you can throw it away. Or if you have a pet, you can actually put it on your pet. But this will help your body repair and rejuvenate. When you put a new patch on, you can set an alarm on your phone because they just don't feel like anything on your skin and it's very easy to forget. So I put mine on in the morning, I set my alarm for 12 hours later, and then when the alarm goes off on my phone, I just remember to take it off. And then, of course, I just repeat the whole process again, once again, every single morning. And you can wear more than one patch. And as I mentioned before, our CEO has actually invented lots of other patches. And in conjunction with the X39, so you wouldn't wear more than one of the X39, but you could probably wear some of the other ones in conjunction with it, and you get this amazing feeling of wellness and well-being. All you need to do is make sure that you can stay nice and hydrated by drinking plenty of water and adding electrolytes in. So let's have a look at some of these stories that I mentioned, because this is one of the things that got me. I kind of understood the science, but what I didn't understand is how many people could this really help? So I'm going to ask, well, let's have a little look. Okay, so actually, I'm going to ask for people if they wouldn't mind maybe raising a hand and they'd like to share their testimonial. And then maybe we could actually unmute, or they could unmute.
Or we can pick up Bonnie. You sit right at the top of the screen. Perhaps you can start sharing.
Well, you know people better. So, is this Bonnie that's going to come on?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think hello everyone. I think I'll tell the story about my daughter Kathy, who's 47. So for 3 years, Ali, you know Kathy, for 3 years, we spent over 40,000 Rand, to give you an idea as to how well we explored this. But Kathy was coming out in these horrendous blisters, these sores on her body, and nobody could diagnose her. And eventually, the last dermatologist we saw, he actually said, I think Kathy has Buller's disease. Now, well, they said you shouldn't Google, but if you Google or if you find out what Buller's disease is, it's a fatal condition. You're given a year or two to live. So when we saw him after a month, I said to him, I've been to hell and back again. How sure are you that my daughter has Buller's disease? He says, no, I'm not actually sure. I really don't know. He said, what you can do is come to me. I will give her this certain treatment, which will probably result in organ failure. So she'll have to come in regularly for blood tests. Well, thank the Lord, about that time, I was introduced to the patches, and we started Kathy on them and never looked back.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. She doesn't have any of those sores anymore. And I think she had one outbreak because she ate something she shouldn't. Because it was, and it cleared really quickly.
Yeah, these patches really work.
Wow.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Thank you.
I know I keep picking on you lately, but your story is short, sweet, and amazing.
Can I tell another story about a customer of mine?
Jenny has to unmute. Definitely.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Jenny, please, you carry on. You carry on. I thought there was a lapse.
No, you can tell another one.
Okay, so my other story is a lady I went to school with, but she is older than I am. She's nearly 80. And she phoned me 2 days ago to say she'd had osteoarthritis since the age of 50. And she said, Bonnie, do you know what it's like to walk around pain free? She said, after all these years, I am pain free. Another customer of mine, I went to school with her, Nan Parker. She was our head girl. They tried everything for her knee, which was very sore, and it was a problem. And eventually her orthopod said, look, sorry, we've tried everything now. You're going to have a knee replacement. She phoned me this week. She said, Bonnie, it's been 3 weeks. My knee is nearly back to normal. And then the next day, because she used to play bowls for South Africa, now she coaches bowls for South Africa. And she said she played bowls for a short while, and she said her knee recovered exceptionally quickly. Incredible. I've just had wonderful testimonies this week.
Thanks, Bonnie. It's so exciting. And I did some live presentations for Bonnie this week, and I met a lady whose diabetic medication, one has been taken away, the other one's still there. She's 85. Her sugar levels have come down considerably, so into the normal, completely, like just over 6 now. They were over 9 and she couldn't control them. And she took great delight in telling us, because of her age, she doesn't think she should deprive herself. So she still has her sweet treats, and she still had one medication removed by her doctor, and he's delighted with her blood sugar levels. It was amazing. And then another lady that Bonnie had there who's had stage 4 breast cancer said that her kidney function has improved and that she's more stable on her feet. And I mean, the stories just kept going. There were just so many incredible stories from people who patching, who don't come on calls because a lot of them don't know how to use Zoom technology. So they came to live presentation and couldn't help themselves telling all these stories.
The same 85-year-old invited me to come to lunch with 8 of her friends today at Mozambique restaurant, and said, we won't talk about the patches. I said, no, I won't talk about the patches. Well, Inga couldn't keep quiet. She said, look at me, my friends are telling me I'm 10 years younger. And she spoke a lot about the patches, and we weren't supposed to. And she doesn't want to work the business. She doesn't want any money. She just wants to help people.
Lovely. And she's looking amazing. Thanks, Bonnie. Okay, Jenny, let's do yours, and then we'll move on to the business side.
All right. So it's good to hear Bonnie talking about the osteoarthritis, because I was diagnosed with osteoporosis about 4 years ago. And just on recall, when you feel so much better, you forget how sore you were. And I recall going upstairs like a crab because it was just too anal. And if I sidestepped a little bit skew, like going downstairs or something, this hot poker pain would go up my spine, because that's where the osteo was, in my spine and my left hip. And I'd been on the patches, and I was only on X39. And my tests in Feb showed that I'm osteopenia. So that's a reverse, which is that medically they say it can't be done. So, I mean, we're great to prove the medical field wrong. I mean, it's just amazing. So there's a new lease on life. I don't have to worry about falling, as in falling and breaking bones. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, and just I feel amazing. And people are saying, both Alistair and I, we're looking great and we seem to have so much energy. And you forget how bad it was when you're feeling so great. So it's always good to remember. Thanks.
Thanks, Jenny. I know I said we were going to go straight back, but I see Kirsten's got her camera on and Rowan's there. And he shared his story, because we always say it's always women who talk, never men. So I'm going to ask Kirsten and Rowan to unmute and share.
Yes, that's why I did that. Okay. So I've been putting a patch on, just a bit of background. So we got introduced to the patches and thought it would help our son, who's got ADHD. He is now 7 years old. and it's been going great. But in the meantime, I also kept on putting a patch on my husband. He was very skeptical, and I just kept doing that for quite a few times and listened to his story.
I'm a small business owner, and I do a lot of physical work myself. And yeah, I discovered that I had vertigo. So going up a ladder and coming down, as soon as I'm back on the ground, the world would spin a bit, and that all has disappeared since I've been patching, which is quite a revelation. And also my energy levels are a lot better. My thoughts are a lot more compartmentalized, and my stress levels are down. So yeah, it's certainly worked for me.
Thanks, Rowan. And I know, because I know Kirsten and Rowan very well, I know that Rowan has come home a couple of times because he's forgotten to patch. Can you feel the difference?
Yes.
Certainly.
Thanks so much. That's
Wow.
great. I'm so pleased you came on. Right, let's jump back into the presentation. And
Well,
it's
thank
so
you.
nice to have people that no one's heard before.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant because I think with women, we can almost wish for a placebo effect, but I've come to understand, especially through my husband, that men don't do that. So it's either a black and white. So it either works or it does not. And I certainly discovered with my skeptical husband as well, and he patched up and he feels so different. And now he's telling absolutely everybody. So once again, please have a look at www.thisisitinfo.com. And this is everything that you will need, apart from obviously what you've seen today. But you'll also hear the doctors and why they believe that the patch is so good for us, why they too were skeptical, and why they add that to their practice.
Thanks so much, Shelley. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the business side of the presentation. So I'm Merle. I, like Shelley, come from a health and nutrition background. So I practiced a technique called life alignment for 30 years this year. See, I'm just going to think about these things because I'm aging backwards, of course. And I have been a nutritionist for quite a while. When I was introduced to LifeWave, I didn't see a presentation like you've just been shown. I saw David Schmidt talking to healthcare professionals. So LifeWave was new in South Africa, and in 2022, when I saw it, I said, I'm going to start patching, but I'm not going to tell anybody. Well, of course, the patches give us incredible results, and how can you not share with others when you see lives changing? So first of all, my own shoulder, and then a couple of friends had incredible results, and that was me. I realized I had to tell people, and now, like Shelley, it's what I do. And it's what I've done only since the beginning of last year. So my first year, I still ran my practice, but now LifeWave is my full focus. So when I decided I was going to tell other people, I thought I better have a look at the company. So this year, we actually turned 21 in October. So we are now at the moment a 20-year-old company. We open in over 80 countries now. And the very exciting thing about LifeWave is because of that patent, we are not a Me Too product. I was at a meeting this afternoon and the guy said to me, who's your competition? Well, we don't have competition because nobody has a product anything like ours. We're actually an industry disruptor to the pharmaceutical industry. And when you look at our turnover, no company grows this way if they don't have a product that works. And X39 is what's done it for us. So in 2021, we did a $20 million turnover. I joined the company in 2022 in December. But earlier that year, Steve and Gina Merritt, who started the This Is It team, joined. And they put together what I like to call a plug-and-play system. So they put together an easily duplicatable system so that anybody who wanted to network could join and could build a business. And that year, because of the system they introduced, we did 320 million. In 2023, we did 430 million. Last year, over 600 million. And we're on track to do over $1 billion this year. And the reason we're on track to do over $1 billion is because we have a product that works and changes lives, whether people want to build a business or whether they just want to be a product user. And you can choose what you want to do. So I always say there's something in LifeWave for everybody, whether you want a business or whether you want just healing. And for me, I started with just the healing. So we also ranked as the #1 momentum company in network marketing in the world at the moment, and Business for Home is the organization that has ranked us. In 2024, we achieved the Global Bravo Award. We were awarded the Global Bravo Award as the #1 momentum company. On the right, you can see Meredith Burkich, our president, receiving the award. On the left, you can see David Schmidt with Steve and Gina. Gina's in the striped pantsuit. Meredith is in the striped skirt. And there's Steve in the black shirt, who's her husband. And they started this as a team. This year, we were awarded the #1 momentum company again, which is, of course, very exciting for us. And that's just a team event. So at this point of the presentation, I always say, what is the most important thing in your life? Why are you on this call this evening? Is it because you want more time with your family? Because many people work incredibly hard and they're on the treadmill, that like a little hamster, you know, that little hamster's wheel, and they never have time to spend with their children, their husbands at home, doing the things they enjoy. So you're looking for the time freedom. Or what about security, whether it be financial security or the security of just knowing that you have better health, so that you're going to go into old age and not have those aches and pains. And I know that's something Bonnie talks about. She's saying, you know, she volunteers in a retirement place, or I think it's an old age home. And when you see how those people go down, you think, I don't want to be like that. I want to have a healthy, retirement and old age. And that's how I feel too. And I'm not 60 yet, but I know that I don't want to have those aches and pains. Better health is the reason that I joined LifeWave. As I said, I was never going to tell anyone. It was all about better health. But perhaps you would also like less debt. So how do we get rewarded in LifeWave? Now, at the moment, there are 4 ways that we get paid. But next month, our compensation plan is being enhanced. And many of my brand partners say it's like Christmas is coming and they can't wait to open the present, because the new plan is like a present to us. We are going to be paid 9 ways. So the amount of money that's paid out to brand partners at the moment is 60 cents to every dollar. And that is not changing. It's just the way that it's going to be distributed is going to be far nicer for all of us. Now, if you're on the call tonight and product is all you're interested in, you can sign up as something called a preferred customer. That means you have a monthly recurring order, but you get wholesale price. The person who introduced you is going to make some commission out of it, but you are going to get the same price that they get without being part of the binary and without ever having to tell anybody. But if you want to get involved with the business, and what I know now is the business is everything for me, because I know that by being involved in the business, I can impact thousands of lives around the world. And I'm hoping it's going to be millions, but at the moment, it's thousands of lives that are being impacted because I discovered LifeWave. And we build teams in LifeWave. We absolutely love teams. So if you come into LifeWave, you put 2 people on your left, 2 people on your right, because we build a binary, you open up the team commissions. And those team commissions are capped at $25,000 a week from the binary. And the new comp plan is still going to be capped at $25,000 a week from the binary. We're just going to be structured a little differently. So I'm not going to go into the present details. We also have something called matching bonuses, and these are unlimited. So how does a matching bonus work? It basically rewards you for helping those people that you bring in to build a business, if this is what you choose to do. So let's imagine that Shelley was my first line and I'd signed her up. She was benefiting from binary bonuses. Every time she got a binary bonus, I would be getting 25% of it, but not of her money. She would get her full bonus, and the company would reward me for aiding her or helping her grow. My second line, if Bonnie was on my second line, I would get 20% from whatever Bonnie did. And of course, Shelley would get 25 because she would have brought her in. And if Kirsten was my third line, would get 20% from her. And then it goes up. This is unlimited. So it's very, very exciting. So how do you get into LifeWave? I always say you come in where you fit in. So when I signed up on core because David Schmidt says everybody should patch for 3 months at least to make sure that they, are optimizing the opportunity for their body to heal. I now believe that many people, especially as we get older, need to patch for longer, because I've seen people who've taken 10 months or a year to be healed. But one of my brand partners, who it took a year for 7 bulging discs in her spine to go back to normal. She was meant to have major spinal surgery, and so what's a year in your life when you avoid that kind of surgery? But it obviously did take time, so we need to give it time. But I decided wasn't telling anyone, came in on call, that gave me 3 sleeves of X39. And I knew I was going to patch my husband, so one for me, one for my husband, and then the third month we were going to use half each. And then I would upgrade to advanced because LifeWave allows you to upgrade. If I knew what I knew now, I would have started on advanced, and already you get a great discount if you start on advanced. Because if you come in on advanced for $535, you get 6 sleeves of X39, so your 6th patch is much more, much cheaper. Nice reduction in price. And you can go manager straight away if you're on advanced. If you're on call and you bring in your 4 people and they're all on call, you need to go to advanced to become manager. If you're a serious entrepreneur, you can come in on premium. For $1,750, you are going to get 20 sleeves of X39, and you are going to have product to retail if you choose to. There is a company recommended retail price. My local pharmacy are in my Dial 9. They've been in the business 2 years now. They started on call. They were very skeptical. They didn't start with X39. They started with IceWave, which is our pain patch, and with Eon, which is our anti-inflammatory patch. And the pharmacy owner said this is not going to work. The first week that the nursing sister patched patients in their clinic, she phoned me every single day, telling me stories. And some days she was in tears. By the end of her first week, she upgraded to premium. And just over 2 years later, they've had to employ, well, over a year ago, they employed a second nursing sister to patch. But just over 2 years later, it's the most popular product in their pharmacy other than pharmaceuticals. It's what they sell the most of, and they have queues outside their clinic every single day of people who've come to be patched because their friends have told them about the amazing results. So it just shows how this can refer into allopathic medicine for those people who are open enough. Like me signing up a preferred customer today who was told by her GP, who's an integrative specialist, that X39 is her option if she wants to reverse her kidney disease. So it really is something quite phenomenal. Now, if you come in on premium, you also don't have to buy any product for 3 months, which is quite exciting. And on any of these packages, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, what about being active? Now, in LifeWave, it's a business if you choose to make it a business. And in any business, product needs to move or nobody is going to earn. Now, LifeWave doesn't make you buy packets and packets of product. 1 sleeve of X39 is a month's supply. And if you are not a manager, you need 1 sleeve of product a month to keep you active. Once you're a manager, all the way up to senior presidential director, which is the top rank in the company, you only need 2 sleeves of product to keep you active for the month and to make sure that you don't lose your volume from the binary and that you earn commission. So it really is not very much at all. Now, Shelley told you about, this is at info.com, where there is so much information. And I really would spend some time on that site having a look at all the information about X39. But if you choose to build a business and you join LifeWave, this is at team.com, is our team website. It's like where you're going to find all your information, that plug and play. So if you had bought a franchise, you would be given a manual, or you would be given websites, or you would have to go to, I know Subway. You go to Subway University. One of the couples who, senior presidential directors, told us how they had to pay money, go to Subway University, pass out of it first, and then they could only apply to buy their franchise. Whereas here, by buying your package, you pretty much have your franchise, you have your own website, and on thisisateam.com, there is everything from how you sign up brand partners, how you build your business to succeed. I know that's what Shelley did. She went there, she watched Stephen Merritt explaining exactly what to do, and she followed step by step. And within her 2nd month, she was already a director. So that's what you do. There are webinars on how the compensation plan works. The new ones for when we roll over to the new plan are ready. They'll be plugged in as soon as we go live. Everything is there to help you succeed. How do you sign up a preferred customer? How do you change legs on the binary? Whatever you need is there. And you just share those little videos with your team or plug them into the system. We also have something called School, which is an app which has everything to help you build a business, all put together by Steve and Gina, who are part of the team, who lead the team that we belong to. So the time is now to make your move. Are you serious about your dream? There really is hope for your future. And it's all about getting started with X39. And I know we don't often talk about how well we do, but Kirsten's on there, and Kirsten is my architect, and she can tell you that I am into month 5, Kirsten, of renovating my whole house, all paid for by LifeWave. So if you work LifeWave, it really can change absolutely everything. Okay, Kirsten's gone quiet again, but she is painting murals for me today. So anyway.
I've been listening.
So every time somebody comes in and they like say, well, how are you doing it? Kirsten says this is a great opportunity to say to people, well, you should be involved in LifeWave. This is how you do it, which is very, very exciting. So thank you everybody for being on the call this evening. If you're a guest and you have questions, go back to the person who invited you. They'll be able to answer them. Our product really is phenomenal and it changes so many lives. And Shelley, thank you so much for presenting with me this evening. And next week, we're back to normal times.